Welcome to the exciting rebirth of Superstar, featuring choose your membership rate as low as just $3 a month. At Superstar, you get expanded, exclusive videoscopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, class passes for Synchronicity University, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your Jupiter in Pisces special horoscope covering the better part of 2021 and 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This video looks at Jupiter in Pisces for the collective. Jupiter will have 3 key chapters as part of this larger transit, so there's so much to talk about here. If you stay tuned to the end, you will also get preview horoscopes for each and every sign. I've created videos that are between 19 and 25 minutes, depending on the sign, where I explore in depth what this energy is going to mean for you. So you'll get to have a look at that a little bit towards the end of this video. And of course, you can log on to nadiyashah.com or log on to nadiyashahsuperstars.com to get the full length video. This energy is very exciting. This energy is, on the one hand, magical and hopeful, but it is also strong. There are certainly key moments that stand out, that accelerate this journey forward for all of us towards a more hopeful sense of self, a more interconnected world, a more compassionate world. But we also have moments that might be disillusioning in some way. And so there is a need for some balance here, because Jupiter in Pisces, as great as it can be, because Jupiter is in its home sign after all. If you think about how you feel when you're at home, chances are you feel more like yourself. You're able to bring forward qualities within yourself that you like or feel that much easier. And so the more hopeful elements, the more spiritual elements of Jupiter are able to come forward that much easier for the collective and for all of us. However, the other part of this energy is where it is that we may not be seeing things clearly. Some of that energy can get heightened, and that can set us up for being decidedly ungrounded. And when we are ungrounded, what happens? Well, very quickly the universe rushes in, or very often the universe rushes in to make sure that we gain the right perspective. And sometimes that can happen in ways that don't necessarily feel comfortable. However, Jupiter in Pisces, yes, it unleashes magic. It unleashes energy of art and music. And this is going to bring a real boost to the collective for our own desire for escapism, our own desire for spiritual connection, for plugging into source. Now, these can take all kinds of forms as well. There are the forms of escapism that can be quite healthy. I think about things like film and photography and television. These are under the realm of Pisces, and it is under this energy that we may have some truly standout works of art, standout movies or music that capture us collectively and stand out for a very long time to come as defining this time. But what we may also see, of course, is escapist tendencies that are not necessarily healthy. So we do have to be mindful of that within ourselves and within the people that we are connected to and that we care about. Meditation can sometimes be seen as an escapist tendency, but it ultimately invites us to plug into source. It's a desire for mystical spiritual experience here. We just want to be sure that it is oriented wisely towards endeavors and places and even techniques that have merit to them and that invite us to keep balance, because it's very easy to lose ourselves under this energy. And that is why care needs to be taken. And yet there's hope. There's magic, there's belief, there's this heightened sense of us wanting to be more connected to each other that I think is going to drive much of our actions. And where it is that we keep at the forefront some of the best that this energy can bring and want ourselves to bring forward and manifest some of the best of this energy, that intention can be fulfilled. Now, I do want to talk about some key dates as part of this larger transit, because I think that it is these dates that are going to speak to how this energy may come forward, especially for the collective. It is going to be May 13th, 2021, that Jupiter will first dip into the sign of Pisces. And it's going to be here right up until the 20th of July, 2021, for the first of 3 chapters that this energy is going to be undertaking. Now, normally Jupiter will spend about a year in each sign over a 12-year period. So Jupiter takes 12 years to go all the way around the zodiac. In this case, though, it's a little bit different because Jupiter is going to dip into the sign of Pisces, retrograde back into Aquarius, and then we'll dip back into Pisces for a longer stay before moving forward into Aries and then retrograding back into Pisces to wrap things up. So this is going to be a key energy that is on and then off and then on and off and on throughout the middle of 2021. And especially at key periods in 2022. It is the second chapter that is the most heightened, where some of the most important celestial events are going to take place. But in the first chapter, we get a chance to look at, on the one hand, how we are going to integrate this energy, what this energy is going to mean for us going forward. And this is where we get a chance to make a choice in our own lives and for the collective. But we also get a glimpse into how good this energy can be as well. So the first date I want to talk about actually happens very soon after Jupiter changes signs. And this is right around the 26th of May. And this is where we are going to have a lunar eclipse. This lunar eclipse takes place in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is another sign that is ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter is the ancient ruling planet of Pisces, and it is an energy that remains connected to the energy of Pisces, so still at home in Pisces. And yet the ancients believed that planets had a day aspect and a night aspect. So the night aspect of a given energy, of a given planet, is one that can be more reflective, more spiritual, more insightful. The day aspect of a given planet can be more outward looking, can be more forward moving, and can be an energy that has a more apparent expression. And that's the case for Jupiter in Sagittarius. So Jupiter in Sagittarius, it's Jupiter in its day that rules Sagittarius and Jupiter in its night that rules Pisces. So we have here an energy that is in its home sign of Pisces, Jupiter, in its night. But the energy that rules Jupiter in its day is having a lunar eclipse, but also that lunar eclipse is speaking with precision with that Jupiter in its night. And that's sort of the technical way of talking about this, but essentially what this means is that we are looking at how we are going to integrate this energy that ultimately can be very spiritual and ephemeral and ethereal, and how do we make it apply to our world, like literally our world. The sign of Sagittarius is an energy that is decidedly worldly. It invites us to consider the ways in which the world is becoming and has become smaller than ever before, but also how it is that the world is a space and a place that more of us are feeling connected to, and how are we feeling connected to it. It is the energy of Sagittarius that is also one of idealism. It's an idealism that is largely philosophical and also experiential. And so how does this fit into a more compassionate understanding of how it is that we are connected to each other? How is it that we can engage more of the world and know ourselves as more connected than ever before, and keep spirituality at the forefront, keep compassion at the forefront? Well, look, I see this energy working out a couple of different ways for us as a collective. It's interesting to me that just a few moments ago, as I'm recording this, Jupiter just stepped into the energy of Pisces. And almost immediately, the CDC announced that if you've been vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask and you can hang out with other vaccinated people. So what is this going to mean for the world, right? What is this going to mean for travel? What is this going to mean for how it is that we interact with more of the world? I think that is going to be part of the consideration. as different countries come out with different guidelines almost simultaneously as the CDC said this. I know that, for example, I'm Canadian and I come from Ontario, and Ontario is extending its lockdowns right into June. And so there's this sense of us trying to figure out how to make these energies come together. On the one hand, there is healing and expansion. Jupiter in Pisces can be wonderful for medicine. It can be wonderful for treatments, medicinal treatments in particular, and medical advancements, and making medicine and making healthcare more accessible to more people. But it is also not just about the fact that we have these new medicines, but what is that going to mean for us? How is it that more people can have access to this? What is this going to mean for all places in the world? I think this is going to be part of the consideration as different countries and different spaces and places come up with different guidelines. So trying to figure out that right way to integrate the advancements with the accessibility to advancements, with what that's going to mean to different regions and different places, is going to be part of this energy. We may also see us as a collective want to either address or consider philosophical issues around accessibility to medicines. We may also see a very different understanding of how to approach not just medical matters with Jupiter in Pisces, but we're also looking at matters of spirituality, matters of accessibility to drugs, especially drugs that have escapist qualities. How different regions deal with these different issues may come into focus, especially at this very powerful lunar eclipse. But it is as we navigate forward, June 23rd. Now, June 23rd is when we are going to have a beautiful, fortunate alignment between the Sun in the sign of Cancer and Jupiter. And so this is often considered one of the more fortunate energies that takes place. It happens about twice a year. So when it happens, it does represent a sense of luck being that much easier to access. Now, it is the Sun that is going to be in the part of the sky or in the sign of home, of family, of country, of patriotism, of what it means to be from your country, whom you identify as your people on a very foundational base level. And of course, because this energy has to do with home, it can also be the living spaces that we are in. Now, Jupiter in Pisces can be all about the dream. Remember that. And so I know house values have been going through the roof as I'm recording this, and the weeks coming up, there's been lots of conversation around how house values, at least because even though I live in Mexico, I do stay connected to the news of Canada, and I know that this is happening in Canada where house values are going through the roof. Well, look, I think we're going to see that really expand that much more, especially around Jupiter trine the Sun, especially with the Sun in the sign of Cancer. We may see them go to heights and home values go to heights that seem a little out of this world. Like the energy of Pisces, and Jupiter in Pisces can feel out of this world or of another realm. That is what we may see at this time. More personally, I do think more of us are going to be feeling like there's genuine healing happening at home with our families. And more of us are going to want to connect with our families and may very well have that ability to do so after a period of feeling restricted, of not being able to see our families, especially our elders, our parents as much. It is going to be this energy that feels as if it opens a lot of possibilities, opens a lot of doors. And this could also be an energy that opens up travel that much more as well. Jupiter as a general principle has to do with travel, but Jupiter in Pisces can also be astral travel as well, so keep that in mind. But this goes back to this idea of home and visiting home and traveling for home. Some of this energy may be heightened, and it may feel like that starts to come together a lot more easier for more of us. As I mentioned, July 28th is when Jupiter retrogrades back into the sign of Aquarius. You may want to watch the Jupiter in Aquarius special that I recorded way back in 2020 again, because we are going to revisit many of the themes that I spoke about there. And so this energy is then going to calm down. Some of us, a lot of us, I feel, are going to feel like we've just woken up. Like all of a sudden the energy shifts from energy and spirituality to mind once again, to rationality, to science. So this is going to take on a greater focus, especially once Jupiter retrogrades back into the sign of Aquarius. But then we get to the end of 2021, Jupiter in Pisces once again. Right around the 28th of December is when Jupiter will move back into the sign of Pisces and then move into 2022. This is where we have chapter 2, and some of the really big transits that Jupiter will have are going to happen in this time frame. So one of the first transits that happens is February 17, 2022. This is Jupiter speaking in harmony with Uranus. It's a type of conversation that astrologers call a sextile. I love this energy because it is futuristic. It is quick moving. It is also very fortunate as well. I think for the collective, this is where we are going to see some breakthroughs take place. Breakthroughs in technology and film. Breakthroughs in technology and television, in technology and music even, and other art forms. This is where it can feel as if we as a collective have leaped forward in terms of our understanding of different forms of art, their cultural impact. There may be a type of art now that has a huge cultural impact in some way that takes a lot of us by surprise in some way. I'm thinking about the artist, for example, Banksy, who's known for trying to incorporate elements of Uranus, surprise elements, into his artistic expression. And there are a lot of other artists out there as well who do this. So we may see some new expressions similar to that. This can also be advancements in medicine, leaping forward there as well. And advancements in our own personal journey in terms of our spiritual connection. Now, here's something to take into consideration. Because Jupiter in Pisces amplifies compassion, and the need for compassion sometimes can show up here. So we may see certain places in the world needing compassion and other places needing to summon compassion in a way that happens very quickly at this time and with this particular energy. Given that Uranus is moving through the sign of Taurus, and the Taurus energy is about the economy, it is about money and resources and access to resources, it may be at this time that we around the world are looking at harnessing resources as a statement of compassion in different places in the world. As we fast forward, we are going to have March 5th, right around March 5th, give or take a day on either side, depending on where you are on the planet, 2022. This is what some astrologers like to call the luckiest day of the year. This is the sun meeting Jupiter in the sky. Now, the one thing I've learned about the luckiest day of the year is that you really have to be proactive with it. You have to take action. You have to do something with it to make it count. With Uranus speaking with Jupiter, earlier in February 17th, as I said, Uranus likes to do things by surprise. So yes, you want to engage this energy, but very often some of the best stuff just shows up for us. When the nodes are involved, what happens can be very karmic. There's not a whole lot we need to do. Events, people, places, things, situations have a way of changing, evolving, or showing up for us. The one thing that I've come to understand with any kind of Sun-Jupiter aspect is that it asks us to tap into the solar energy. Solar energy is one of self. It is one of harnessing our fire, which is an action principle. It is about getting in touch with our core, our center, allowing ourselves to shine that much more. And what that means is, yes, being proactive with it. And so if you want to make the most of the luckiest day of the year, then consider where it is that this energy is taking place for you in your sky. Whether that is based on your sun sign, whether that's based on your natal chart and you understand the house that this energy is playing out in, and take some action, some step in that particular part of your life based on the house that this energy is playing out in. Now, for the collective, this can be wonderful for taking steps towards enjoying or creating or cultivating an appreciation of art, of healing, of spirituality. Where it is that we are hoping to exercise compassion towards others, towards ourselves. This energy can be wonderful, but also remember, this is energy of magic. like seriously, this is about magical energy. It's psychic energy. It is working with energy itself beyond the physical realm. And so where it is that you are hoping to be open to wisdom or meaning or purpose that you can feel within you, where you are wanting to dive into the waters of the mysteries, this energy can be great to utilize on that front. Where you are wanting to tap into the power of your spirit guides, even your ancestors to a certain extent, even though ancestors also connect with Cancerian energy as well. If you are wanting to tap into the power of spiritual realms, to connect to the wisdom or to get spirit guides on your side or spiritual forces on your side, this energy can be very helpful in that regard as well. Wherever it is that you're willing to surrender and go with the flow, but also put yourself in the right spaces and places, you may find that things have and events have an almost mystical quality in how they carry us through. This can be wonderful where it comes to all matters of fantasy. And so fantasy can be and play out on all kinds of levels where it comes to harnessing our imagination so that we create something that we feel good about. But of course, external circumstances that we want to create that are fantastical can be part of this energy as well. Now, we'll talk more about that when we get to the most romantic day of the year in just a moment. But first, before we get there, which is April 30th, just to let you know, which I think is actually going to be the peak moment of this larger Jupiter in Pisces transit, that really is a standout time. But I'll talk about that in just a moment because I do want to go in chronological order. And I first want to talk about one day that a lot of astrologers have been talking about, have been looking forward to. I know I might have mentioned it. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it in the decade ahead horoscope that I did a couple of years ago, and I will link to it below because it really is very important. This is Neptune meeting Jupiter in the sky. Now, this meeting happens once every 14 years or so. And for it to happen in the sign of Pisces, well, this is going to be a once in a lifetime event for a lot of us out there because this is not going to happen again for another about 160 years. So again, once in a lifetime event, the ancient ruling planet of Pisces and the modern ruling planet of Pisces meeting in the sign of Pisces. The conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune will happen on the 12th of April, 2022. And I know that on the one hand, this energy can be seen as miraculous and beautiful and spiritually romantic and romantically romantic as well, imaginative, creative, and it can be all of those things. This can be dream come true energy. But this energy can also be dissolving. It can be disappointing. It can be disillusioning as well. So we, in our own lives, in our own journeys, are going to need to strive to remain balanced and connected in some way. And when I say connected, I mean connected to reality, because this energy can really have us going way off. And that's where we do need to be a little bit careful with this. So some of the best aspects or elements of this energy are the healing properties, the spiritual properties, the artistic properties. Whether you're cultivating this in your own life, for the collective, we may see wonderful examples of these particular fields. I do think this energy is going to be incredible for astrology. I think this is really the revival and the growth that we've had in astrology in the last few years, I believe, is because of Neptune in Pisces. It is Neptune in Pisces that has people wanting to feel more connected, wanting to feel more guided, wanting to feel like there's some higher meaning or purpose playing out in their lives. And that is part of what has led to this expansion of astrology and how it's been able to enter spaces and places that it hasn't before, like in mainstream media outlets. It is this energy of Jupiter and Neptune that can represent a peak of interest for the collective in astrology, at least part of Neptune in Pisces. However, this energy can also go way too far. I'm thinking about things like cults, and we may see examples of people engaged in extreme behaviors, extreme escapist behaviors, disconnected to reality kind of behaviors with this conjunction. I'm also thinking about the healing properties of this energy. And again, this can go to extremes. This can be being completely healed, faith healing. We are and have been in a pandemic. This energy can possibly help us to feel like the pandemic is more behind us. However, this can also be a dissolving of progress. So there's this sense of extreme possibilities and what are we going to co-create with the universe? Remember, we as human beings are powerful. We bring intention, and with our intention, we co-create with the universe. And any astrological aspect has a range of ways in which it can come forward, range of expression, and we can actually decide which part of that range we want to participate in manifesting for the collective based on our individual decisions and our individual journeys. And so this energy is going to invite us to tap into the power of visualization, the power of connecting emotionally, the power of compassion towards ourselves, compassion towards others, and to be mindful of where it is that perhaps we may be going too far ultimately does help the collective to decide not to get too carried away with this energy. So that's where we may need to find some balance at this time. As we navigate forward now, let's talk about what I think is the peak moment of this larger transit, of this larger energy. It is going to be April 30th. And that is when we are going to have Venus meeting Jupiter in the sky. Now, normally Venus meeting Jupiter in the sky is called the most romantic day of the year, but this is amped up. This is jacked up. Let me just say that. This is such a powerful astrological time and astrological day that we may not see anything like this again for a very long time, and haven't seen anything like this in a while. According to the ancients, and when we utilize traditional techniques, certain planets like being in certain signs more than others. It is in certain signs that they're able to bring forward the very best qualities. And sometimes these signs are their home sign, what's called domicile. So like I said earlier, just like Jupiter's domicile right now, it's in its home sign. It's very strong in the sign of Pisces. It is not just domicile planets that are considered strong, but also planets also have signs that are considered exaltation. So it is in these signs that they are considered exalted. Just like the word sounds, it is in these signs that they're able to bring forward their highest, their best qualities, and they're able to allow it to come forward that much easier. Within these signs that a planet is exalted, there will also be a degree, so an exact point in the zodiac. Each sign is divided into 30 degrees. There are 12 signs, so altogether there are 360 degrees around the zodiac. And consider that there'll be 1 degree of that zodiac where that planet is really, really strong, is at the height of its energy, the height of its power. For Venus, that is the 27th degree of Pisces. And it is going to be at this 27th degree of Pisces that Venus and Jupiter are going to meet. So this energy in and of itself is very powerful. Normally and under normal circumstances, and it's not necessarily normal circumstance because, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Normally though, we would look at this and we'd say, wow, it's a great day to get married or start a new project or present something new to the world. To initiate would be great at this time because you've got such an energy here, yes, of love, but also of abundance, of spiritual abundance, of blessings, right? This is a magnified sense of possibility, which is a beautiful thing. It is incredibly romantic. But simultaneously, almost, not quite, but almost to the moment, we have got a solar eclipse taking place. Now, eclipses are like the last energy you want to work with because eclipses have a will of their own. They are ultimately about aligning us with a higher, more loving vision for our life. Sometimes that happens very dramatically. And sometimes we don't realize and we don't know from our perspective. We think that something is so big and so grand for us to align with. But from the perspective of a wise and loving universe, what we may be thinking is actually quite small in comparison to what the universe has planned for us. There are moments of co-creation with the universe. There are moments of us taking the lead. And then there are moments of us surrendering, depending on what's happening in the sky. And ultimately, I do think the way that we cultivate wisdom is seek to learn from the sky so we understand how to approach the process of co-creation, what it's asking for us at a given moment. Eclipses are not a good time to do things like magic, right? Or like magical practices, astrological magic. As a general principle, you don't want to be working with eclipse energy because it can be so erratic. And because from our own perspective, we may actually be limiting ourselves tremendously in comparison to what the universe has planned for us. And so eclipses ask for surrender. They ask us to go with the flow. They ask us to allow the universe to reveal what a higher, more loving vision for our life may be. Now, this eclipse, the solar eclipse, is happening in the sign of Taurus. Venus is the ruling planet of Taurus. And so we've got this magnification of energy. The moon is in the sign of Taurus, exalted in the sign of Taurus as well. And then we've got other big energies playing out at the same time. We've got Mercury in its home sign of Gemini, strong, domicile. We've got Saturn in its home sign of its ancient rulership, Aquarius, domicile in its home sign. And so you put this together and we see this is a very strong sky. It's a very karmic sky. And it is a sky that says what's going to happen, let it. Like, allow things to come together as they need. It isn't necessarily a sky that says, go out there and make it happen. More, it says that we will find tremendous strength and reserve, allow ourselves to see where the universe is asking us to participate, to co-create, and to be engaged with life, to harness our will, yes, but to harness the will in a way that stays open to possibility. And that is how we make the most of this energy. So on the surface, it looks like the most romantic day of the year, but the truth is there's a lot of quick moving, changeable energy. That solar eclipse is happening hand in hand with Uranus in the sky as well. So we can see here there is erraticness all around, and in the midst of it, there's love. There's profound love, there's spiritual love, there's art, there's beauty. And so if it is that you are wanting to tap into the energy of the most romantic day of the year, just know this energy can take you in all kinds of places and spaces. The energy is like ripping off a Band-Aid. The energy is all or nothing. And sometimes the most romantic day of the year can mean that a particular situation needs to end very quickly so that the universe can open you up to what is actually meant to be for you in the context of love, even if it doesn't feel comfortable. That might be the case for some people out there. For others out there, this energy can accelerate love. It can accelerate our pathway to love. We may have examples of people eloping, for example. People who barely know each other, feeling a connection and eloping. We may see this on a level of celebrity, especially, because they do tend to amplify our own considerations and our own journeys in their own way. It is celebrities, I think, that are sort of these larger than life archetypes for what we may be experiencing more personally in our own lives. And our own lives might be more quiet on the surface. And you think about how Pisces is such an energy of glamour, such an energy of healing. We think about this very erratic, quick moving, leaping forward into the future energy. Well, yes, I think we may see some celebrities shock us at this time with eloping. But in our own lives, of course, we may engage this energy in all kinds of ways. We may see very shocking breakups take place as well in our own lives and in the collective as well. Regardless, though, whatever happens, it is part of aligning our lives with greater love and greater wisdom. It is part of aligning our lives with greater romantic love as well. So trust the journey wherever it is that it may take you. It will be just a few days later, on the 3rd of May, that Jupiter will speak in harmony with Pluto. This is very powerful. This is transformative, but it is also an energy of resolve, of understanding and focus and seeing what really needs to happen, but also digging in more deeply to the self having that level of understanding can be part of this energy. And so we have here this beautiful alignment between Jupiter and Pluto. Pluto is in the sign of Capricorn, which has to do with tradition on the one hand. It has to do with large structures that hold society together. It's sort of like the bones of society and of families as well. And it is this energy of transformation and focus and intensity that is speaking with this Jupiter, of romanticism and idealism. And you can see here that there may be some examples of power of corporations, whether they step up to be more compassionate, whether it is that they stand out in terms of the gains that they make. And that seems to be the thing that gets a lot of people's attention. In our own lives, this energy in and of itself can heighten spiritual direction. It can give us purpose, yes, but it'll invite us to channel that sometimes elusive energy of Jupiter in a way that is beneficial to us, that allows us to make meaningful transformations to the structures of our own lives, the kind of transformation that has the potential to last for a very long time to come. Now, just a week later, on the 10th of May, is when Jupiter will leave the sign of Pisces. So up until this point, from the end of 2021 to May 10th, Jupiter has been rushing through the sign of Pisces. Now leaves right up until October 28th. And this period of time is when we're going to get a little bit of a respite, but also I think a lot of us are going to feel like we've woken up in some way with Jupiter entering the sign of Aries. Now, of course, that will have its own special horoscope in 2022, so be on the lookout for that. But what I do want to mention with this is, it is Aries that is the energy of first breath. It is the spark of life. It is as if we very suddenly come out of a dream world that is intensified towards the end with Pluto sextile Jupiter. And very quickly we feel like the lights have come on, like we have to wake up, and we may get a wake-up call as a collective and personally as well. Where we've gone too far in fantasies, it is going to be this energy that invites us to look more clearly than we have perhaps in a while with Jupiter in Pisces. And so right to October 28 is when this energy will be active, of Jupiter in Aries, and then Jupiter retrogrades back into the sign of Pisces right into the later part of the year. So it is going to be right around the 20th of December that Jupiter will finish off its third chapter in the sign of Pisces. So what's interesting about this period of time, October 28 to right about December 20th? Well, what's happening here in 2022 is that Jupiter is just kind of hanging out at anaretic degrees. What that means is anaretic degrees are the very end of a given sign. These are degrees that are considered points in the sky of concentration, culmination, completion. Some ancients considered this points of crisis as well, but I think we need to be careful with words, and especially with that particular word, because this ultimately is an amplification and a concentration of energy. Now, what we do with it is always up to us. But I think in many ways what this period of time does, it encourages us to wrap up loose ends, to learn from the journey that we've been on with Jupiter in Pisces, especially chapter 2 of Jupiter in Pisces. Now, what are we going to do with what we've come to understand? How are we going to go forward? How are we going to integrate the wisdom, the spiritual wisdom that we might have cultivated? Where it is that there have been either medical advancements or medical possibilities more available to more people than ever before, how is it now that we make that more the norm? Where is it that compassion can be more the norm? Where is it that places in the world are still needing compassion, and what does that actually look like? How can we best serve others with love, with wisdom? These are going to be some key themes. This could also be a time when we see art or music go too far in some way. So again, that could be visual art, that could be film, television, photography. It is here that we may see ourselves get very carried away with this, and there can be some very shocking creations that happen at this time. in some way, but it's almost like it's a natural progression for how things have been going by the time we get to this point. In our own lives as well, we'll be examining the blessings that have been and how to integrate them more deeply so that the insights and the blessings stay with us. And also that we stay aware of them, because it is Jupiter in Aries that is an energy of awareness. Jupiter in Pisces is a dream. And so how can we maintain awareness but also integrate the dream? I think that is going to be part of this third and final chapter of this extended Jupiter in Pisces on and off, on and off, on, off season. What I love about this transit for us, well, look, there's so much here. What a powerful astrological time. It is Jupiter coming home to the sign of Pisces. And this is where Jupiter can bring forward its night aspect that much easier, that much more beautifully, that much more engagingly. It is going to be at this time that we are encouraged to bring a heightened sense of love, universal love, spiritual love to ourselves and to others. Romantically, we are looking for soul mates. The thing is, though, there's a meme that's gone around, and I'll put it up here somewhere, that I thought was hilarious, that I absolutely loved. And it says something to the effect that we tell ourselves that someone is our soulmate, our twin flame, but it actually just was a dumpster fire. And so sometimes we need to be aware of that what what we think is that twin flame maybe isn't. Maybe it's just a phase. Maybe it's just that, a bit of Uranus in our lives that comes and goes very quickly. We have to be mindful of this where it comes to matters of heart and matters of love in our individual journeys. But in the collective as well, we're going to have to be mindful of where it is that we are getting carried away by certain energies instead of accessing the best that they promise. Getting carried away is that escapism. And I'm so sorry to say, but this kind of energy can bring with it drugs, new designer drugs that have a maybe not so great, even fatal outcome or consequence. So these are the types of things that can happen at this time. And so it becomes that much more important for us to be willing to look at and to examine how it is that we see escapist tendencies, how we're going to approach it. Are we going to approach it as a medical issue, or are we going to lock people away? Because the energy of Pisces, this energy can also have to do with what we don't want to look at, where it is we lock people away, like prisons, like hospitals. These are spaces that are covered by this energy. So is it possible to bring healing to these spaces, or are we going to just wash over them so that we don't have to look at them and see them much more idealistically than they actually are? That is going to be part of the invitation at this time. There's this very famous saying that how we treat the least or the least powerful is ultimately the most evocative, or it says the most about the values of a given people. It is going to be this energy that invites us to look at just that. Where is it that we bring genuine compassion, and the extent of it ultimately speaks volumes as to the best in whom it is we know ourselves to be. And this energy is going to invite us to do that, to bring forward our most compassionate selves, to benefit the lives of the collective, of the world, but ourselves as well. Well, thank you so much for watching. What are you looking forward to with this transit? What do you love about Jupiter in Pisces? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys. Stay tuned for preview horoscopes coming up for each and every sign in just a moment. Very quickly, if you will indulge me, I just want to very quickly show you my shirt. I don't know why when I saw this shirt, I said, this is Jupiter in Pisces. Now, actually, as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking the colors are kind of Jupiter in Pisces, but the theme is kind of like Jupiter in Aries, but whatever it is, I really like this shirt, so that's why I'm wearing it. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Downloads for the special horoscopes for your sign are available now at nadiyashah.com. And also available in the Superstar space at nadiyashahsuperstars.com. With Superstar, you get expanded exclusive videoscopes each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month. Higher tiers get you access to all the special horoscopes for each and every sign for as low as just $10 a month. And higher tiers get you things like access to Synchronicity University. class passes, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. Thank you so much again for your love, for your trust. I look forward to walking this journey of Jupiter in Pisces with you as we go along week to week, fleshing out the nuances, whether that's in the Superstar space for your sign or whether that is on YouTube. Thank you for seeing me as part of your sacred journey. I'm so grateful for it. It'll be a great transit. Enjoy. And here come the preview horoscopes for your sign now. Thank you. Hello, fabulous superstar Aries. Welcome to your Jupiter special horoscope, looking at Jupiter moving through the sign of Pisces and what that means for you through 2021 and 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What a remarkable transit this is. Now, normally, we'd like to say normally, sort of in brackets, because the planets have their own path and they like to do their own thing, but normally you get Jupiter moving through one sign per year. But this time is a little bit different. Jupiter is moving in and out of the sign of Pisces, first moving in and then retrograding out back into Aquarius. But for you in particular, what's especially important is that Jupiter is going to move into Pisces, and then you're going to get a little taste of Jupiter in your sign in the middle of 2022. Jupiter is going to be moving through a part of the sky for you that has to do with what's happening on levels of soul and psyche and spirit. And it looks like you're working through a lot of stuff, clearing the way, closing karmic ties, ending karmic chapters, understanding what has served its karmic purpose in your life as part of Hello, fabulous superstar Taurus. Welcome to your horoscope for Jupiter moving through the sign of Pisces, your Jupiter special horoscope covering parts of 2021 and 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological time, without a doubt. Now, Jupiter is going to step in and out, back in and out again, a part of the sky for you that has to do with friendships. It has to do with group alliances. It is what you do with others, joining forces with others, that aligns you with even bigger opportunities for your life. This part of the sky is especially visionary. It has to do with the hopes and wishes that you have for your life, but it also invites you to see yourself and your life as larger than you have before. And there's a financial way of understanding this part of the sky as well, as it connects to how it is that you continue to profit from the things that you have achieved, the successes that you have earned. It is here that you will come to understand how much people support you and how much it is that they want you to shine, that they want you to do well. Hello, fabulous superstar Gemini. Welcome to your Jupiter special horoscope, looking at Jupiter in the sign of Pisces and what that means for you at key points in 2021 and in 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you so much for being here. What a remarkable transit this is. It is going to be Jupiter that is going to spend key moments at the very top of your sky. Now, this is decidedly consequential. On the one hand, it does have to do with career and social standing, but more personally, it has to do with life purpose and your sense of alignment with a higher, more loving vision for your life, the legacy that you are creating, and also recognition. Awards are covered here as well. It is about you moving upward and onward, however it is that you define it, claiming sacred ambition and owning your power to move your life in that, or at least align your life in that higher, more loving direction. Now, especially in 2021, while we have this little bit of a visit of Jupiter into the top of your sky from mid-May to late July of 2021, we are going to continue to have the North Node moving through your sign, which means that it isn't just about career. It isn't just about this. Hello, fabulous superstar Cancer. Welcome to your Jupiter special horoscope, looking at Jupiter moving through the sign of Pisces at key moments in 2021 and 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological transit as Jupiter steps in and out, then in and out and back into fellow water sign Pisces. This is going to expand your horizons and expand your world. In many ways, you are being prepared for bigger and better. That is going to be coming up for you, that you'll get a taste of in 2022 and be more fully immersed in 2023. It is about you putting things into place that will allow you to manifest bigger and better. That is the promise of this time. And I would even say early on in this transit, it is going to be in June that we are going to have one of the more fortunate days of the year, and it's going to speak to the heart of you. It is going to be the sun newly in your sign on June 23rd that will reach out and connect with Jupiter in supreme harmony. This is an extremely fortunate alignment. And if you are one of the Cancers who has a birthday right around this time, you will hold this energy with you throughout the year, but all Cancerians out there are going to benefit from. Hello, fabulous superstar Leo. Welcome to your Jupiter special horoscope, looking at Jupiter moving through the sign of Pisces and what that means for you and your sign at key moments in 2021 and 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological time. Now, since late 2020, you have had Jupiter in your opposite sign, having to do with partnerships and alliances with other people. Well, it is going to be in the middle of 2021, from May 13th to July 29th, that you are going to get a little bit of a taste as Jupiter moves out of your opposite sign and into a much more consequential and vulnerable part of your sky. Now, vulnerability can be a great strength. Being willing to look at yourself deeply can be a great strength. And in fact, it is there that you might find great wealth as well. Now, this can be practical, but it can also be emotional and spiritual. These are the types of consequential, honest making experiences that are going to be on offer for you as you navigate this time, getting a little bit of a taste in 2021, and then a concentrated, much more immersive experience in 2022. Hello, fabulous superstar Virgo. Welcome to your Jupiter special horoscope, looking at Jupiter moving in and out of the sign of Pisces at key moments throughout 2021 and 2022, and what that means for you and your sign. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What a remarkable transit it is, with Jupiter spending key moments in your opposite sign, having big days like the luckiest day of the year and the most romantic day of the year, supercharged in this case in 2022 in your opposite sign. Well, all of this speaks to partnerships, whether that's business partnerships or romantic partnerships. It is those one-on-one alliances in your life that are set to get this boost of expansion, this boost of healing, this boost of possibility. I would even say it is going to be by aligning with others that some of the greatest progress is going to be made in your life. There can be key shifts and changes taking place to your partnerships, but whatever happens is ultimately part of unleashing bigger and better blessings in your life. So let's talk about some key moments that are set to take place for you that I think are going to be incredibly important. This first chapter of Hello, fabulous superstar Libra. Welcome to your Jupiter special horoscope, looking at Jupiter moving through the sign of Pisces and what that means for you in your sign at key moments in 2021 and 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological transit without a doubt. Now, you have been experiencing Jupiter moving through a very heart-oriented part of your sky since late 2020. Well, now you're going to get to take all of that understanding and apply it to your life. Make it practical. Bring that love, bring that heart, bring that passion to your work. Now, whether that's the type of work you do or the people who surround you there are big blessings on offer with work-related opportunities and connections. But we also have this energy speaking to how well you take care of yourself. Self-care as an affirmation of self-love. And chances are this is going to invite you to bring heart to those very small moments of affirmation into your life. This part of the sky to me is one of the most important because it has to do with honoring the smaller moments of your life, paying attention to the rituals. Hello, fabulous superstar Scorpio. Welcome to your Jupiter special horoscope, looking at Jupiter moving into the sign of Pisces at key moments in 2021 and 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What a remarkable transit this is, and boy, are you going to love this. You're going to have a lot of fun because it is Jupiter that is going to be moving into a part of the sky that has to do with fun and romance and flirtation. It speaks to creativity. It speaks to fertility. It speaks to living a life that is more heart-centered and more guided by the things that you are passionate about in every area of life. It has to do with being in love with every area of your life. Whether it is recreational pursuits, whether it is the things that you enjoy doing, or whether it is a genuine sense of joy connecting with others. All of that is covered here. There are going to be several big moments as part of this transit. And so there's a lot to talk about here, but the thing to really understand is that this is an awakening of heart in many ways. This is about you awakening to what it is that Hello, fabulous superstar Sagittarius. Welcome to your Jupiter special horoscope, looking at Jupiter moving through the sign of Pisces at key moments in 2021 and 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological time, without a doubt. It is going to be on May 13th, 2021, that Jupiter will change signs for the first of three chapters, three parts of this larger transit that are set to take place in 2021 and 2022. Now for you, this is that much more important because Jupiter is your ruling planet. Wherever Jupiter goes, so go your sense of blessings that are that much more important to you, that much more on the surface for you. This is a part of the sky that has to do with feeling at home within your own body, within your own skin, bringing a genuine sense of forgiveness to the past, matters of home and family, feeling especially blessed. Home-based businesses working with homes are about to get a whole lot more expansive and profitable to you as well. So there's so much to talk about here. One thing to remember is that Jupiter will be doing something a little unusual this time around. Normally, Jupiter will spend a full year in a given sign. Hello, fabulous superstar Capricorn. Welcome to your Jupiter special horoscope, looking at Jupiter moving through the sign of Pisces and what that means for you in your sign. At better parts of 2021 and 2022, I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological time. Now, Jupiter is going to be moving in and out of a part of the sky for you that has to do with understanding your unique voice in the world. It has to do with communication, conversation, but also synchronicity, which is being in the right place at the right time, meeting the right person, and it makes all the difference. Key people are covered here, like siblings, cousins, and neighbors, your community as well, what you consider your community, being out and about and connecting with others. All of that is covered here and so much more. Learning new skills, expanding your mind, as a way of understanding the self and whatever it is that you're curious about. In fact, your curiosity is going to awaken now and in the months ahead. This is a key astrological transit because ultimately it is here that you take on the skills that you'll be able to build on for years to come. Hello, fabulous superstar Aquarius. Welcome to your Jupiter special horoscope, looking at Jupiter moving through the sign of Pisces at key moments in 2021 and 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological time without a doubt. Now, you might have gotten used to having Jupiter in your sign since late 2020. It is going to be in 2021 that Jupiter will dip out of your sign for just a little bit. And ultimately, this is about taking all that you've come to understand about yourself, this more expansive identity that you've been cultivating, and begin to apply it in practical ways. Jupiter is going to step into a part of the sky that is associated with finances. Wherever Jupiter goes, so come blessings, so come big opportunities, expansive moments, and a real sense of progress as well. In fact, I would say over the course of this larger transit, you can expect to go from one income bracket to another higher income bracket. Now, what's also possible with this energy is that you move in a direction of cultivating abundance and financial prosperity for yourself in a way that feels more rewarding. Hello, fabulous superstar Pisces. Welcome to your Jupiter special horoscope, looking at Jupiter moving through your sign for key moments in 2021 and 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What a phenomenal transit this is for you. You are beginning brand new chapters, but it isn't just about these new chapters of self and who you are and what matters to you most and what matters to you first. But it's also about how you apply that to different areas of life. That is going to be a key theme throughout 2021 and 2022. What's interesting is that Jupiter moving through your sign is going to have three distinct chapters at this time. The first chapter gives you a little bit of a taste, but allows you to integrate some of this more deeply on levels of soul and psyche and spirit. The second chapter is where all the action happens, big celestial events taking place for you that redefine you in key ways, including the luckiest day of the year, the most romantic day of the year, which is supercharged, by the way, and so much more. And then the third and final chapter allows you to tie up loose ends, ensure that you've integrated